There is a woman in the ancient world who wakes up one morning with nothing left but debt, 2 sons about to be taken as slaves, and a single jar of oil. That's it. That is her entire net worth. And what happens next is not a miracle story. It is a blueprint, a coded sequence of steps that, when followed precisely, collapses the field of scarcity and opens a channel for something that physics itself is beginning to understand. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you are never going to read 2 Kings chapter 4 the same way again. Let's talk about something that most people in the quantum physics world and most people in the church world have both been sleeping on. There is a principle embedded in quantum mechanics called superposition. It means that a particle, before it is observed, before it is measured, exists in all possible states simultaneously. It is not in one place. It is in every place. It only collapses into a single defined reality the moment you observe it. Now hold that thought, because we are about to walk into a story from thousands of years ago that describes exactly this process in spiritual, practical, human terms. The widow in 2 Kings 4 comes to the prophet Elisha in a state of maximum compression. Her husband is dead. The creditor is coming for her sons. She is operating from the smallest possible version of her reality. And when Elisha asks her what she has in her house, she says almost nothing. Just a jar of oil. That phrase, almost nothing, is the quantum entry point, because she did not say nothing. She said almost nothing. There was still a residual, a seed, a single unit of potential energy sitting in the corner of her life, overlooked, underestimated, nearly invisible. And that is where Elisha focused. This is the first principle I want you to lock into your mind. The quantum field does not work with absence. It works with presence, even the smallest presence. The oil is not the miracle. The oil is the antenna. It is the receiver. It is the one thing that still vibrates at the frequency of provision. And Elisha, operating as someone who understood how to interact with this field, did not try to conjure something out of pure emptiness. He found what was already there and said, "This is what we work with." Now let's talk about what he told her to do, because the instructions are specific and they are not random. He said, "Go around and ask all your neighbors for empty vessels. Not a few, as many as you can find. Borrow empty vessels everywhere. Then go inside, shut the door behind you and your sons, and pour oil into all those vessels. Set aside each one when it is full." I want you to feel the weight of that instruction. She was not told to pray harder. She was not told to fast for 40 days. She was not told to wait for a sign from heaven. She was told to gather containers and close the door. Those are engineering instructions. Those are protocol steps. And every single one of them corresponds to a principle that quantum physics, neuroscience, and the law of resonance all confirm in different languages. Let's break them down one by one. Gathering the empty vessels is the act of expanding your capacity before the supply arrives. This is crucial. Most people want abundance to show up first, and then they will figure out where to put it. But the quantum field operates on the principle of prepared space. A vessel that is not present cannot be filled. A container that has not been borrowed, gathered, retrieved, and set in position cannot receive. Elisha was essentially telling this woman to build the infrastructure for multiplication before the multiplication happened. This is what every financial teacher worth listening to will tell you in modern language. Build your accounts before the money comes. Build your systems before the clients come. Prepare the space, and the energy fills it. This is also what quantum physics calls the observer effect on a macroscopic level. When you act as though the supply is coming, you are collapsing the wave function toward that outcome. You are choosing, out of all infinite possibilities, the one where the vessels get filled. Your physical action is the measurement. Your gathered containers are the observation, and the quantum field responds to observation. Now, the second instruction is even more profound. Shut the door, go inside with your sons, close the door, and pour. Why shut the door? Because multiplication requires a closed system. In thermodynamics, an open system loses energy. Heat escapes, pressure drops. The environment interferes with the process, but a closed system can build internal pressure, can concentrate energy, can sustain a reaction that would otherwise dissipate. Elisha was not being antisocial. He was creating the conditions for a quantum feedback loop. He was telling her, what is about to happen cannot survive the interference of doubt, commentary, spectators, or external noise. This is sacred space. Shut the world out. Think about how this applies to your life right now. How many times have you had a seed, a small beginning, and almost nothing, and you opened the door too early? You told people before it was ready. You asked for opinions before the thing had taken shape. You exposed the process to doubt and comparison, and suddenly the oil stopped flowing. The widow did not announce to her neighbors what she was doing. She asked for their vessels, gave no explanation, went inside, and shut the door. The miracle did not happen in public. It happened in the private, concentrated space of focused action and closed system intention. The oil kept flowing as long as there were empty vessels, and this detail is the most stunning part of the entire passage. She poured from the one small jar into vessel after vessel, and the oil did not run out. It kept multiplying. The only thing that stopped it was the moment her son said there are no more vessels, and the oil stopped immediately. The oil stopped when the containers ran out, not because God ran out of oil, not because the supernatural source was depleted, but because the prepared capacity had been reached. The multiplication exactly matched the prepared space. Nothing more, nothing less. This is the quantum principle of entrainment and resonance. The supply calibrates to the container. The harvest matches the prepared field. The financial breakthrough fills the infrastructure you built. And when you have no more infrastructure, when there are no more empty vessels, the flow pauses, not forever, but until you build more capacity. This means the question you should be sitting with right now is not, when is my breakthrough coming? The question is, how many empty vessels have I prepared? How many accounts? How many skills? How many relationships? How many systems? How many open channels? Because when the oil starts flowing in your life, it will fill exactly what you have made room for, and then it will stop and wait for you to go get more vessels. If you are working through this kind of activation in your life, and you want a structured daily practice to go deeper, I put together something I am very proud of called the Quantum Wealth Scripture Journal. It is 30 days of Bible plus quantum wealth activations. Each day you get a scripture, a reflection, and a practical money move. It is designed to rewire the way you think about provision, wealth, and your own capacity to receive. The link is in the description and in the first comment below. If you have been watching this channel and feeling like this content is exactly what your spirit needed, that journal is the next step. I want to pause here for a moment because I know some of you are in a season that feels exactly like hers. Debt pressing in, the creditor calling, the sense that everything is about to be taken. And maybe you have looked at your life and said, I have nothing. But I want you to look again. Look carefully. Is there a jar of oil somewhere? Is there a skill you have not fully deployed? A relationship you have not fully leaned into? A gift you dismissed because it seemed too small? An idea you wrote off because you thought it needed more to get started? The widow said almost nothing, but almost nothing was enough, because she was not working with human math. She was working with a different kind of arithmetic, the kind that takes 5 loaves and 2 fish and feeds 5,000, the kind that takes water and returns wine, the kind that takes a single jar of oil and cancels an entire debt while leaving enough to live on. This is not prosperity gospel. This is not wishful thinking. This is a documented, recorded, ancient protocol for engaging with the field of infinite supply through finite means. Now here is where I want to connect something that might surprise you. Modern quantum field theory describes what physicists call vacuum energy, sometimes called zero-point energy. It is the energy that exists in what appears to be empty space. When you think there is nothing, when you measure a vacuum and expect to find zero, you find instead a field of fluctuating energy. The universe does not do empty. Emptiness, as we perceive it, is actually a field of potential. A ground state humming with possibility. The widow's jar of oil, almost empty, was not actually empty. It was sitting in a field of potential supply. And when the vessels were ready, when the door was closed, when the action was taken in faith, that field began to pour into form. The oil was the visible tip of an invisible supply, and the invisible supply was unlimited. The only limit was the prepared container. This is why the ancient Hebrew understanding of blessing is not passive. Baruch, the word for blessed in Hebrew, is an active verb. It means to kneel, to cause to flow, to channel. To be blessed is not to sit and wait to receive a gift. It is to position yourself as an active channel through which the flow of heaven moves into the earth. The widow was blessed not when she sat and cried, but when she moved, gathered, closed the door, and poured. Now I want to be practical with you, because information without application is just entertainment. If you are in a season of financial pressure right now, here is your 3-step Elisha protocol. Step 1. Find your jar of oil. What do you still have? Not what you lost. Not what you wish you had. What is in your house right now? A skill, a relationship, a small income stream, a digital asset, an idea that keeps coming back to you. Find it. Name it. Do not minimize it. Do not say it is too small. This is your quantum seed. This is your antenna. Step 2. Prepare your empty vessels. This is the expansion work you do before the supply arrives. Open accounts, build systems, create offers, develop the skills, establish the channels through which the oil can flow, and do this now while the jar is still small, because when the multiplication begins, you want the infrastructure already in place. Step 3. Shut the door. This is the discipline of protecting your process from interference. You do not need to announce what you are building to everyone. You do not need permission from the people who have never seen their own multiplication. You do not need to defend your faith in what is coming. Go inside. Shut the door. Pour. While I have you here, I want to say something from a very quiet, sincere place. This channel exists because of the people who show up, who watch, who share, who come back. If this content has ever shifted something in your thinking, ever opened a door in your spirit, there is a way to be part of this work from the inside through the channel membership. Members get early access to videos before they go public, and for me, they are the closest circle, the people who make this whole thing possible. It is never about the money. It is about building something sacred together. If that speaks to you, the option is right there on the channel. Now I want to close with something I do not want you to scroll past. The widow followed every instruction. She gathered every vessel. She shut the door. She poured. And when it was done, when the debt was paid and she had enough to live on, the story does not end with her becoming the wealthiest woman in Israel. It ends with her having exactly what she needed to cancel the debt and sustain her family. This is important. The multiplication was purposeful. It was calibrated to her actual need and her actual prepared capacity. God did not overfill her. He filled what she had prepared. This means your breakthrough is not waiting on God to decide to bless you. Your breakthrough is waiting on you to decide how many empty vessels you are willing to gather. The field is already full. The oil is already flowing somewhere in the invisible. The only variable is your container. The only question is how much you believe the supply is real enough to build infrastructure for it before you can see it. So I am going to ask you something, and I genuinely want you to think about it and share your answer in the comments below. What is your jar of oil right now? What is the one small thing you have been overlooking, minimizing, or writing off as not enough? Because if the widow of 2 Kings 4 could cancel her entire debt with almost nothing, I want to know what almost nothing looks like in your life today. Drop it below, because naming it out loud is part of closing the door and starting to pour. There is something that happens when you say it, when you write it down, when you declare it to the field. The wave function begins to collapse toward provision. The vessels begin to fill. If this video helped you see something differently today, share it with one person who is in a season of almost nothing. They need to know that almost nothing is enough to start. Like this video if it added value to your thinking, and subscribe if you want to keep going deeper into this kind of content. There is so much more to uncover. The jar is not empty. The field is not closed. The oil is still flowing. The only question left is how many vessels are you willing to go gather?